Edward Laos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the Hotel Guide publisher, Edward
Good
Laos.
afternoon, everybody. Edward Laos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host for Travel Talk. Really excited about today's guest and today's episode. We were talking a little bit offline about the industry and trends and some things going on in both of our backgrounds. And it's kind of great to see we are two aligned souls in the hospitality industry. So I'm really excited about having you on today's episode, Paul. How are you doing?
Thank you, Edward. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fine. A little cold today up in Canada, but
yeah,
I think it's cold everywhere.
It's a little cold everywhere. I mean, I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and it's cold enough for us, but probably not Canadian cold. But nonetheless, we are in winter, so it's kind of cool that we're actually feeling winter temperatures. So that's kind of a good thing. So as I like to do with all of my guests, is to kind of tell our listeners, our readers, a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to where you are at Beau Lake, and then we'll dive into some of the business and personal side stuff too. So take it away, Paul.
Well, I can be best described as a designer, entrepreneur, ad exec, short film director, but lover of lakes is another description. And I spent most of my career in advertising as a creative person, and I created a network based with offices in North America and Europe. Brands that you would know of: Nike, McDonald's, BMW, Mini, things like that. And I moved on from that, sold the business, and started building my own brand, Beau Lake, which I'm really excited about. And that's my background.
Well, that's good. So we're talking about Beau Lake. And so for those of the guests who are not familiar with Beau Lake, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? And then we'll get into some of the things that we're talking about from the experiential luxury travel side of things that you're really trying to do.
Yeah. Well, it all started on a dock, Edward. I was sitting on a dock, and you can picture it. You've been there before.
Yep.
Maybe there's a little loon, and then there's a sunset. Everything is calm up in the Laurentian Mountains of Canada. And then all of a sudden, this plastic thing came by. You've seen them before, these pedal boats. They're plastic, they're blue or yellow, and they kind of look like Tupperware.
Yep.
And I thought, God, that's just a garish and off brand of this lake. And I thought there was the opportunity right there. Why not create the kind of water experience that's at one with nature, that feels like it's part of nature and not disrupting it? And that's where the idea, the very simple idea of Beau Lake came by. So the idea is to build pedal boats and electric boats and paddleboards that probably get their cue from sort of mid-century design. In that classic period, think of those runabouts, some of the brands, Riva, all those classic brands, Chris Craft, Matthews. So that era, 1950s. And so that's the kind of design aesthetic that we have created with Beau Lake. And again, it became a real opportunity, because if you look around the world, it's paddleboards and stuff like that. It's basically a commodity. It's an uneventful experience, and we wanted to take the uneventful and make it unforgettable experience. And that's what Beau Lake is: creating products that are one with nature, that are beautiful experience that you enjoy, that are beautifully made and performant, but have a real sense of being part of an old lake experience or old water experience. That's Beau Lake.
No, that sounds beautiful. It sounds actually amazing. When I got the information on what you're doing there, it's just an incredible opportunity. I actually did a top 25 trend or top 10 trends for 2025. And a lot of my guests have been saying the same thing. Experiential travel is one of the hottest things going on, even in this year. I think obviously post-pandemic, we talked a little bit about that before offline. Now people are wanting those experiences even more. Tell me how important that is to what you're doing at Beau Lake.
Well, if you think about the luxury customer, It's changed. And if you look at all the luxury brands, they're all trying to cater to this new profile, if you'd like. And it replaces status, look what I have, to experience, look what I'm doing.
Yep.
And getting on a paddleboard is a beautiful experience. It's eco-friendly. It's not using any motors. It's lifestyle. It's healthy, and so on. So I think that the new luxury customer is looking for experiences and things that they can relate to, and that they feel that are authentic. And authenticity is a big part of a luxury brand too. I mean, what is luxury? What is a luxury brand? Well, it's legacy. It's craft. It's the making of something so special, so unique, and it is this sense of authenticity, something that is real.
No, you bring up such great points with regards to that. And I could tell you're an ad man and a creative guy. Your descriptions are amazing because I'm a creative guy too. I got my own marketing firm on as well. So you speak in my language, but you're speaking the language of travelers nowadays. They want to feel it, see it, touch it, and just really be in the moment. And I think that's the thing that's taking travel to a whole nother level that maybe wasn't quite there before the pandemic. But I think afterwards, people are realizing like, we just don't know the amount of time we have on this planet, and let's go see it and experience it to a whole nother level. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I think that, it was what happened during that pandemic, those 4 years. I mean, they seemed that they were kind of invisible for a lot of people. And, people have also, realized there's not a lot of time left on this planet. And I'm going to make the best of it. So, yeah, people are looking for those special experiences. And, when we started Beau Lake, we attracted luxury brands as well. There's Ulysse Nardin. I'm wearing a Ulysse Nardin Beau Lake watch.
Oh, wow.
We did a creative collaboration with them, a board and a watch.
Okay.
Yves Saint Laurent, Rive Droite, we did a beautiful collection for them. We're working on our second collection. Hinckley, which is one of my favorite brands in the world, are partnering with Beau Lake and so on. And Villebraquin, the bathing suit company, have come by. So we've got these collection of people who've come to us, which is amazing. I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of paddleboard companies out there. So we're doing something right, Edward. Yes. And I think we're attracting partners. We're also connecting with customers. But where we think that we can grow, and I think that we can actually help, and I think is relevant to this podcast, is hotels. Mm-hmm. I travel a lot. I'm very fortunate to be able to travel a lot, and I go to nice hotels and places like that around the world. And what I've found out is that there is an inconsistency with the queue that these hotels are giving you. So, for instance, you go to a hotel, you're paying thousands of dollars an evening or whatever it is. It's expensive.
Yeah.
The first cue is when you arrive and how that you're greeted, whether you sit down or you can go right to your room or whatever luxury experiences. And then all those little amenities and cues are all collaborating to say, you're not getting screwed. You're paying, but you're getting your money's worth, right?
Correct.
But then something weird happens, and it's all over the planet. You go to the beach, and these boards are crappy. I'll tell you, I won't mention the name, but a very famous hotel. Beautiful experience, no complaints. Get down to the beach, guy's smoking a cigarette. We got these crappy boards there. So what the hotels are doing is that there has not been a Beau Lake. So what they've done is they've outsourced it to the local guys. Local guys buy the cheapest plastic boards. They get into landfills earlier than others. And so I think that there's a huge opportunity. And in the fourth quarter of 2024, we started with some relationships around the world, and we're going to continue that in 2025. But really try to build a portfolio of hotels and partners that we can provide that kind of experience that's consistent with the brand, and it's what the customer wants.
Sure. I love that plan. I love what you're trying to elevate the experience with quality design and the uniqueness. Because you're right. You go to these things, and sometimes you everything's great, and then there's that one little hiccup, and you're like, unfortunately, that's the hiccup I remember, and that's what you don't want from a from a property or from an experience is to remember that, because that's what we're talking about today. You're not talking about all the other 5-star stuff that was going on in the property, but you remember those things. And so I love that you're solution driven too. So you're looking at, hey, there's some issues out there that we can make this world a little better place in the hospitality industry. So, man, I truly love what you're doing with Beau Lake as well. So let's transfer a little bit to the personal side. I always like to ask my guests, what are some of your favorite travel destinations and any bucket list travel ideas?
Well, my favorite destinations, I have a couple of really, Europe, anywhere. I love Europe. I just, it's our ancestors. So I love Europe. And when I go to the Caribbean, there are 2 islands that I like, Anguilla and St. Bart's.
Okay.
And I only go there. I've traveled about the other ones, but there, and you picked this up in your trends. I love that episode you had with the trends, because you really nailed really where people and customers are. But one of the things that you think of a bigger picture. So when I go to some of these islands, well, let me focus on the positive side. When I go to Anguilla or St. Bart's, the people have passports. When I sit in a restaurant, they're there. In the other islands, they're at the bottom of the food chain.
Got it.
And I don't feel good about that. And you talked about that in one of your trends, was what you have to, customers are thinking a little larger than, just go to the beach, put some tent, go to the buffet, go home. So those 2 are my favorite. And then, of course, I'm a big fan of Japan. I love the food. I love the clash between the traditional and the very hip, cool youth that are doing amazing things there. So that's a cool. Those are my places.
Those are your places. What about
Canada? Wait a second.
Yeah,
I've been traveling a lot in Canada. It's a beautiful country. It's diverse. Of course, I'm an ad guy. I'm selling my country, right?
Yeah.
But it is a diverse place, and it is, I don't know why we didn't start traveling there a little earlier, but it's a place to visit.
Definitely. That's on my bucket list as well. Actually, the places you all mentioned are on my bucket list. I own a travel magazine now for 32 years, and I haven't traveled nearly enough. And so I'm looking forward to the ability to be able to go visit places like what you're doing in Beau Lake and some of these other places that you're talking about as well. So as we're wrapping up here, I always like to give you the opportunity to tell people a little bit about how they can contact you or find out more information on what you're doing and just to make this world a little better place.
Yeah, well, one of the things. Well, first, let me tell you, we have a lot of really exciting things coming up in 2025, and one of which is to continue our R&D on trying to make the better eco board possible in the world. And the end of the day, our tagline, our mantra is "The water is calling." So it's really an invitation to enjoy water in whatever capacity that you enjoy it in. And also the water is calling is a plea. The water is calling, help me, help us. And so we spend a lot of R&D. That's what we'll be doing a lot in 2025. We're also working with designers to do, we're getting into some surfboards. A lot of our customers, we wish that our customers use the product for water experiences, but a lot of them just frame them. But the surfboards are going to be part of a collection. The best way to contact us is our site, Beau Lake, Beau. Beau is French for beautiful, and beaulake.com, or message us at info@beaulake.com. We're selling all over the world. The U.S. is our biggest customer, and Canada, but we're starting to pop up in little places in Europe and Dubai. So we're going to continue to try to see if we can build a global brand.
That's awesome, man. I'm really excited about what you're doing. I'm glad to have you on my podcast and to be able to say this is when, and then as we're growing, I definitely feel that we're going to have you back on the show. I think we could talk about marketing and creative in the hospitality industry and have a really good time doing that.
Yes, we're we're designers.
Yes, sir.
same breed.
Say, yep, it's in the DNA. But Paul, thank you so much for being on today's episode. Truly a pleasure to have you on and to share your experience and knowledge with our listeners.
A pleasure, Edward. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. To all of our readers, listeners, and guests out there, continue to follow us at thehotelguide.com. Please like, subscribe, and share. And then obviously check out what Paul's doing at Beau Lake and seeing how you could be a part of that. We'll actually have his website listed in our comments so people can find it rather easily. But as we like to say, travel and make memories. Until next time, everybody, take care.
Thank you.